Jackson Swain, touchdown.
It's time. It's time. It's Swain Event time.
My man.
It is time for the Swain Event, fueled by Dead End Barbecue. This is real sports talk for the real sports fan. Talk to him, Swain.
Give me 2 pounds and a Ric Flair.
Swain Event, SwainEvent.com, fueled by Dead End Barbecue, top 100 barbecue restaurant in America. Glad that you are with us this morning. I'm live here in the Low T Center studio. I'm Jason Swain. What a start to the show. What a start to the year. I don't know where to start. Do you start with the bowl game? Or do you start where, honestly, more energy should be put, and that is what's next, moving forward, trying to fix what went down during the season in 2025. 865-255-03, the Garza Law Hotline. I'm assuming that is going to be busy this morning. You can get in on the conversation. Comments, questions, again, 865-255-03. It's our telephone number. And then for you texters out there, you can use the Beta Chevrolet text line, text box, and hit us up using your free Swain Event app for Android devices. Staff changes was something that we expected with this 2025 team after what went down this season. After the Vanderbilt game, I was very clear, very direct, very honest about where we were as a program. I said our program was soft. I said our football team was soft. The bowl game against Indiana only continued to prove that. A key for me in the game was Tennessee being able to stop the run. Tennessee was unable to stop the run in that football game. Illinois was able to rush the football for 220 yards. And Tennessee had a lead and needed only one stop to win the game. Illinois still ran the football at will. So physical toughness, mental toughness is something that I have pointed to all season long. And if you've been listening to this program for more than just a couple of weeks, you know that this is something that I've pointed out dating back to 2023 when this football team traveled to Missouri and some of the mental toughness wasn't there either. Some of the leadership wasn't there. And penalties, mental errors. I mean, you hear Josh Heupel, what seems to be every single game after their loss, talk about how they didn't play clean enough. And I know for Tennessee fans, it's annoying to hear that over and over and over after every loss. Well, when you get tired, when you don't have the mental toughness that's needed, that's when you make mistakes. And Tennessee's offense was built to force mental mistakes by the opponent. But a lot of times over the last 3 years, we're the ones who are making the mistakes, offensively, defensively, because we lack the mental toughness to be able to push through when we get a little bit tired, when we didn't jump out to a lead in the first quarter, which, hey, it's always easy when you jump out to a 14-0 lead. How many times have people talked about the key to Tennessee winning a football game, and the number one thing that was mentioned was, oh, you got to start fast. You got to start fast. Because we know how potent Tennessee can be when they do start fast and jump on the opponent. But what about when you don't start fast? Are you able to get up off the mat? Are you able to come back? Well, we haven't seen Tennessee do a lot of that. That's a mentality thing. That's mentality. When you have the toughness mentally, it doesn't matter if you're up. It doesn't matter if you're down. That is built in the weight room. And for the last couple of months, that's where I've been pointing to. Ooh, who we got here? Yeah, Ben McGee. But that's what I've been pointing to. I've been pointing to the weight room. I've been pointing to Josh Heupel. I haven't spent much time on Tim Banks, even though I knew that he needed to, find a new place to go. I feel like Tennessee needed to go in a different direction. But Ben McKee, good morning, man.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. But as I was saying, like, it's why I spent most of my energy being talking about Josh Heupel, his needing to change some things that he was doing, and the strength and conditioning program. That was my focus. It wasn't about the coordinator, even though it needed to be fixed. Well, yesterday it was reported that Josh Heupel is not going to retain the strength and conditioning coach, Kurt Smith. And I think this was a move that was much, much needed. Either he changed his philosophy, either he got better, or you made a change. And Ben gave me some crap when Miami and Texas A&M played, as Ben likes to do, a little jokey here or there, called Texas A&M my team, because I used Texas A&M as an example to tell you what Tennessee needed to do from a strength and conditioning standpoint, from a toughness standpoint. A&M should be playing, honestly, this past weekend, but if they had a quarterback that could throw the ball with anticipation and had better throw of the quarterback position, they probably would. But defensively, that those trenches there at Texas A&M, that is a playoff caliber program. And they'll be back next year. That is the impact that their strength and conditioning coach had when he left LSU and Tommy Moffitt and went to Texas A&M. That's the impact that Tennessee is looking for at the strength and conditioning position. But, Ben, we knew the changes needed to be made. We saw that the areas where Tennessee was deficient in all season long, even before the season, but we're starting to see some of the changes being made. Josh Heupel's out here firing people for the first time at Tennessee.
Yeah, a lot of people didn't think that Josh Heupel had it in him to part with some of the people he is parting with, whether that be Tim Banks, whether that be the strength coach, Willie Martinez. He, so far, is making the necessary moves, certainly to fix the defensive side of the football. I guess the offensive side is maybe a separate conversation and one that we have already had.
It needs work.
It needs work. Unfortunately, for those that also believe that the offense needs work, I think that's going to be on the back burner this offseason, quite frankly, just because I think that there's so many other pressing needs. Are you anticipating staff changes on offense?
No, not staff changes, but just changes.
Well, can we expect changes without staff changes?
Yeah, I thought we saw some changes with the offense without staff changes this year. But
we did. We did.
We need. I wasn't necessarily referring to staff changes, more philosophy changes. Heupel needs a strong look in the mirror and understand that his offense is not as good as he thinks it is.
And it's not as good as he thinks it is because of his offensive line. It's that simple. We have seen the blueprint to success, to championship level football these last couple of days. And look, Texas A&M is a championship caliber program. The blueprint is Miami. It's Miami. It's Indiana. It's Oregon. It's Texas Tech's defense. Really, it's Texas Tech's entire team outside of one position. Texas Tech needs to upgrade at quarterback in a significant way.
Oh, they will.
Very much kind of I feel about Texas Tech the way that you feel about Texas A&M, to where if they had a better quarterback, then they probably have more success. That I actually enjoyed watching Texas A&M in Miami play a couple of weeks ago. I know a lot of people did not like watching that football game. I thought it was two really good defenses going at it. Whereas I thought Oregon, Texas Tech yesterday was the game that people thought Miami A&M was. That game between Texas Tech and Oregon yesterday was just not good in my opinion. Which I did think the Miami A&M game was good, but that's besides the point. But the blueprint has been on display. It's the line of scrimmage. That's what sets you up to play championship level football on both sides of the football, and it makes life a lot easier on the other positions on the field. And I'm not saying it can be only the line of scrimmage. You've got to have good play at the second and third level of the defense as well. You certainly see that with Miami at the third level, both at corner and at safety. And you see it throughout Indiana's entire defense. But the line of scrimmage sets you up for success and playing a physical brand of football. And look, we can harp on Tennessee's offensive line all day long. It needs to be it needs to be adjusted. There needs to be wholesale changes. And I'm not talking about Glenn Ellerby when I say that. I agree with what you said, that it's philosophical changes that can be made when I say wholesale changes. Something has to change because their evaluations and development of high school offensive linemen are not working. It's just not, outside of David Sanders Jr. So, yes, we can spend a lot of time about the offensive line. It's also the defensive line. Tennessee's defensive line took a major step back this year, and the veterans that Tennessee had defensively up front did not produce and lead the way. I thought the way that Tennessee needed them to. And then they have a bunch of young guys behind those veterans that I didn't think played to the level that you needed them to. And the Leo position, the edge rusher position, I thought was very overrated this season. I thought it was a bunch of names and high school rankings that people were hyping up. I think the actual production in college doesn't match the supposed resume certainly coming out of high school. So I think that's where you start in terms of changing the toughness and whatever term you want to use. Tennessee has to be better in the trenches. You go back and look at that 22 season under Josh Heupel when they won all those games and won the Orange Bowl, and Tennessee had a great offensive line. It had a great defensive front, had a great defensive line, and that has not been the case the last couple of years.
Yeah, well, 14 it was good. The front was good.
Yes.
But
I'm talking about it all clicking together at once.
Why are we here? To make it simple for the listener, for the viewer, why are we here? Why is Tennessee here? What happened? 2022, in year number 2, we thought that if you can do that in 22, you should be playing this past weekend. If you can do that in year number 2, why are we so far behind today? That's the question that many people are having. They're scratching their head. How is Tennessee in this position? It comes down to 2 things: talent evaluation and development. That's why we're here. We did not do a good job in those 2 areas. It's like not seeing someone for a year, and you see them and they look like they lost 25 pounds, or they look like they just gained 25 pounds. Well, what you do or don't do, it shows up at a point in time. For Tennessee, the lack of talent evaluation, the lack of development after the 22 season, it didn't show up right then. It didn't show up in 2023. But it has shown up in the last 2 years. It's shown up. You didn't do a good job in that area. Not good enough. And so you're seeing some changes on the talent evaluation side. It's not going to be highlighted, but there are changes that have already been made. You saw what Jake Bresky left Tennessee to go to Missouri. That's where he's from or whatever. That's where him and Josh Heupel connected when Heupel was up there. You're seeing some changes in that area, and that needs to be good. If you're going to have new defense coordinators come in and new defense staff members, the communication between them and your personnel office needs to be good. You can't have a personnel person telling the coach who's going to be coaching the players who he should get. There needs to be great communication. They need to be on the same page. If Jen Knowles comes in here and say, hey, man, this dude from this team in this portal, that's who I want as starting linebacker. You can't have the personnel guy going, no, well, according to analytics, this guy is better. You need to be on the same page. We have struck out when we have brought in players thinking that they were going to be a high-level player. They were not. And then they hit the portal, and then entering 2025 season, we're like, well, Tennessee's the youngest team in the SEC. Well, why in the hell are we the youngest team in the SEC in year 5? That is because you struck out so many times during talent evaluation and development. It's the two major issues of why we are here in this position. And now you have a chance to fix it. Because we spent a lot of time in our last couple of weeks and months being a little bit early, saying, talent evaluation and development, it ain't where it needs to be. It could be a little bit better. And now you're sitting with 5 losses. You've got to push around all season long. You're wondering where it went wrong in recruiting. And so there's really no need to continue to harp on that, Ben. Now it's about, all right, what needs to be done? What do you do? How do you move forward? How do you fix it? And for Josh Heupel's sake, you have an administration. You have resources that are in place. You made a really good hire in Jim Knowles. That you can flip this roster, man. You can flip it. Because Tennessee and Miami was right at the same place when NIL popped off. Right at the same place. And the only difference has been talent eval and development. It's been the only difference. The only difference in mentality. That crystal ball mentality rubs off on this football team. That Dan Lanning mentality rubs off on this football team. And so on and so forth. Like, look at the teams who are competing. Even Pete Golden. Look at his mentality. It rubs off on the football team. And so now it's about making the right choices in the portal, Ben. William Martinez is out, as expected. E.T. Ernest Thomas is out, who was working with the corners. I thought he did a pretty good job with Ty Redmond. I thought he did a great job with Ty Redmond. Colton Hood, you saw what he did coming in. Wasn't good enough Dion, but made enough plays to put himself in position to be a NFL draft pick. Don't know where he's going to be picked. But those guys were connected to Tim Banks, especially Ernest Thomas. And for Willie Martinez, man, he was working on one-year deals. Anyways, it was probably time for him. And I am a Willie Martinez fan. I appreciate all he's done in Tennessee. He has been successful here, but it was time. So Kurt Smith out, Willie Martinez out, Ben, Ernest Thomas out. Andrew Jackson, defensive line coach from Penn State, is coming in, which tells me the fact that you already got Rodney Garner, and you're bringing in Andrew Jackson, that tells me that Chop Harbin is probably going to be out. Safe to say that, you think?
Yes.
Okay.
those dots would seem to connect.
Okay. You brought back Robert Ayers. Robert Ayers spent a year with Tampa Bay Buccaneers, so Robert Ayers is back. I know the players really gravitated towards him, responded well to him, and so that looks like that's going to be the trio working with the front this year. Reports are flying that Michael Hunter, and this was I'm looking back at a text thread I had with him on December the 11th, where I was trying to put two and two together after Jim Knowles was hired. Like, all right, who's Knowles going to bring in? So you start to do some cross-referencing, and I cross-referenced a guy that worked with him at Oklahoma State and then also at Ohio State, because you want someone that knows what Jim Knowles wants to do, be able to teach his system. Well, what do we know? Michael Hunter, who was an assistant corners coach, is at Ohio State, and looks like he is linked to be coming with Jim Knowles. Worked at Okie State, worked at Ohio State, and looks like he's going to be coming in to coach the cornerbacks. So,
And we do have, within the last couple of minutes, news that Anthony Poindexter from Austin Price and Matt Zenitz, that Anthony Poindexter is on campus working officially, part of the defensive staff, and that is believed to be the safeties coach, correct? In addition to Michael Hunter being the corners coach.
Yep. Ooh, look, we flowing and going this morning. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. Well, you saw what happened with Texas and how they fired their DC and then announced the hiring of Milt Muschamp right then. It only made sense that Tennessee's going to do the same thing after the bowl game. That's why Josh Heupel was so confident in saying that, hey, we could be ready to roll in 2026.
Yeah, you don't have a choice. You have to be ready after the bowl game, because last night at midnight you had thousands, literally thousands of players entering the transfer portal. Today is when the transfer portal madness starts. The visits are going to begin. You need all of those position coaches in place if absolutely possible, because you need them to help you in the portal. It's that simple. So that's why you needed them. That's why you needed to officially make these moves rather quickly. And Jim Knowles has been around for what now, 3 weeks or so. So that's plenty of time for him to back channel and figure out who he wants on his defensive staff.
Dude, I bet Jim Knowles walked up in here and was like, what is this mess? This is a hot mess. How? What? All right, let's go to work. So, again, for me, it's, hey, the personnel department and the defensive coaches, are we on the same page about who needs to be a volunteer? I think if you're Josh Heupel, you hire a dude like Jim Knowles, your coaches should be telling you, the personnel people, what it takes to win. I think Jim Knowles, who won a national championship at Ohio State as defensive coordinator, probably knows a thing or two more about what kind of player it takes to run his system more than the personnel office. But
he's not Will Muschamp.
Working together, I don't know. But working together, making sure you don't miss in the portal. You can't miss in the portal. Speaking of the portal, Lance Hurd, starting left tackle for Tennessee, hit the portal. I thought he played well this season. I know he had to overstep, and he stepped on the player's foot, and gave up the sack against Illinois. But I thought for the most part he had a really good season.
He was good. Yeah. He was all SEC lineman.
Yeah. That was a salary cap cut right there for Tennessee. You can't be paying him and David Sanders Jr. what you paid those guys this year and pay him more next year. You just can't do it. You got Jesse Perry, you got Gable Cinda coming in, you got some options. Before Bennett Warrant hit the portal, I thought that he would be an option, but again, that is another offensive lineman that we fail to eval and develop properly that is hitting the portal. That is 2 so far from 2024 class, but that's a different. I don't even want to go there right now. So, Hurd is out. Ricky Gibson is also hitting the portal. And I think this stung Tennessee fans. I didn't say this to you, Ben, but I did tell someone yesterday. I don't really care about defensive players hitting the portal. I mean,
this is one I think you should care about.
I don't.
I think he's on the very, 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 very short list of guys on defense you did not want to lose.
Man, I'm not. He threatened to leave last year. I'm not overpaying for dudes.
I get all that. I totally do. But you don't have anybody at corner but Ty Redmond right now.
This is why
it's just enough. That's just more that you have to go get is kind of the way that I look at it.
Yeah, but so are you willing to overpay?
Not overpay, no.
Well,
but do we know what Ricky
point.
Gibson was asking for, and do we know that it was a strictly financial decision? Because I don't believe that he was pleased with his coaches, his guys. Or ET, if I'm not mistaken, Ernest Thomas was his guy. So
bye.
It almost sounds like there was nothing that really Tennessee could do about it.
Well, bye. I mean,
yeah. I mean, yes, for sure. If a guy is that Gibson, caught up on.
He wasn't good enough for me to cry over spilled milk about it. Was he a good player? Yes. Do I feel like he was going to be a really good player for us coming back from injury? Yes. But Tennessee should be able to go to the portal and get someone to match his production, if not better production and a better player. That's what, like, you're hesitant because there's a chance you might go get somebody.
It's as simple as I need to know who's going to replace Lance Hurd. I need to know who's going to replace Ricky Gibson. And once I see their replacements, I will feel better or feel worse about it.
Well, I'm not overpaying dudes. And if I am Josh Heupel, I feel good in Jim Nose's ability to go in his first time being defensive coordinator here, knowing that he wants to start off on a good foot. I feel good about him going out and picking a corner that's going to be better than Ricky Gibson. Now, he may not be. I don't know. But, like, I'm not willing to overpay for Ricky Gibson, who was about to hit the portal last year. I'm good. Like, Jordan Ross, he's different. He's a really good edge. His ceiling is high. His ceiling is high. The production wasn't where it needed to be. It's why Chop Harbin is not back. That's why, Ben. So the talent is there. It's why he's not back. So whether we agree or disagree with the move, it doesn't matter. The level of production went down this year from the previous year, and he is talented. He is more talented in his position than Ricky Gibson is in his position. So I wouldn't want to lose Jordan Ross, but I'm okay with losing Ricky Gibson because I think Tennessee can go to the portal and get a good player because guys like Jordan Ross doesn't grow on trees. Dude's 6'4", super athletic, and rush the passer. Like, you get Rodney Garner, you get Andrew Jackson, and you help him get to the next level because the talent is there. And this
Are you willing to overpay for Jordan Ross and Caleb Herring?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. That's a good point. That's a good question. Yeah, I don't know the numbers sitting right here talking to you right now. I don't know those numbers or what
I don't know the numbers either, but I don't. It's not going to be cheap. I do know that.
Everybody's going to want raises. Everybody wants raises. Don't you want a raise from 247?
Yeah.
I would love to have a raise. I can't. My contract is up here in another year. I'm ready for a raise. Everybody wants a raise. Who doesn't want a raise?
I already got a raise.
So the players want raises, just like the coaches want raises. Everybody wants raises. Everybody wants raises, guys. All right, let's hit this Betty Chevrolet text box. Real deep from the 4-2-3. I'm looking at these two Harris corners in the portal from Penn State and UGA. Hey, we can go to the portal. We can get secondary players. It's all about eval. That's what it's about. You got to eval the right guys. You got to pay the right guys. Bring back A.J. Artis and Corey Miller. Hey, you see what A.J. Artis, who used to be here under Pruitt, what he's doing at Georgia Tech. Doing a great job. If I'm A.J., I'm not leaving. Corey Miller, VFL, at UCLA, spent some time in the NFL. When you look at UCLA, because their whole football program was a hot mess, doesn't mean that Corey Miller can't be the guy. He knows what it takes. Corey Miller loves his place. And you have a guy like Corey Miller reminding our players every single day what it means to put on that power tee. You will see the difference on game days. I can promise you that. I do think Corey Miller's on the list. How far up or down on the list, I'm not sure. But Corey Miller's on the list. There's a lot of people that is in Corey Miller's corner. I am one of those people. I hope he gets it. But this is a very crucial hire for Josh Heupel. He can't mess this up. He can't miss. This is the most important hire in his career at Tennessee. Even bigger than Jim Knowles. This is the most important hire because this guy, whoever's going to be hired, is the one that's going to be working with the players every single day and molding the mindset, molding the physical appearance and the strength levels of our football team to be able to do what Jim Knowles wants him to do on defense. Real deep from the 4-2-3 again says, what is old Sam Pittman doing? Throw some NIL at him. Listen, I understand folks want Sam Pittman. He's one of the best offensive line coaches in the country. And I don't think the offensive line eval and development has been really good here at Tennessee in the last 5 years. But what has been good is Tennessee's ability to run the football, having 3 running backs make all SEC with multiple running back coaches. Ellaby brings value to the running game. Ellaby's weakness is development and evaluation. And it has killed Tennessee. But his value to the running game has probably balanced all that out. It's balanced it out. As poor as the eval and development has been, he has been that good in his role with Tennessee's running game. (865-255-03). Tennessee doesn't need any receivers. I know Cam Coleman hit the portal. He's going to command $4 million, $4 million. Tennessee doesn't need receivers. You just paid a ton for a 5-star Tristan Keys to get here. You got to re-up Staley, who deserves the biggest bump on the football team probably. You got to take care of Mike Matthews. Like, you got to take care of the receivers you got to take care of. You got to take care of the players you need to take care of who play well for you that you know what you're going to get next year. You ain't got time to be going out and getting no receiver. So, no. Jeremiah, we paid Gibson a lot of money last year, 0 production. Bye. Jim Knowles will find someone in the portal that fits his scheme. Well, in all fairness, Gibson, got hurt first game of the season. But you didn't get the production. I mean, it's really that black and white. You didn't get it. And we're not paying you more money, and you didn't do anything this past year. Whether you're hurt or not, we're not paying you a lot of money.
Well, I'm fine with paying him a lot of money. I just would not give him a raise.
A big bump is what I meant, yeah.
I wouldn't give him a bump at all.
Correct. And so
just because he's coming off of injury. Now, I think what he was getting paid, he was totally worth it. But like you were hurt and coming off of an injury, you don't have any tape to want a raise. But again, like I said earlier, I don't really think that. Of course, money is always involved, but I just don't really think that Tennessee could have done anything to keep Ricky. Regardless, it seemed like he was intent on leaving once his guys, specifically Ernest Thomas, hit the door.
All right. I think I need to do a reminder for those who are new to the Swain event. These takes are not personal. It doesn't matter if I like you or dislike you. These takes are for what's best for the Power T. The Power T is bigger than anybody, any person. This is a conversation about what's best for Tennessee. So, family members of players, family members of coaches, it ain't personal. If you don't like what was said, I'm sorry, but it's just black or white here. There's no personal vendettas. And I'm not bringing this up because anything came up or anything. I just understand that this show has become more popular and more people listen to it because they know they're going to get the honest truth. And some folks don't want to hear that. Some folks don't want to hear criticism. But we went 8-5. Our fans deserve to hear some honest commentary. That's what they deserve. So that's what they're going to get. And we're going to the Garza Law Hotline, 865-255-03. Good morning.
Good morning. Happy New Year to you both.
Happy New Year. Sounds like Justin in Florida, man, getting in early.
Yes, sir. Excited to have you guys do a show this morning with all this news being broken. I mean, God, that's a great that's a great add-on during the show that Pendleton is going to be joining the staff. I think that's a great addition. I think it was Pendleton. Sorry, I've done that so many times. Yeah, Poindexter. I think Louisville was making a real push for him. They were throwing big money at him, if I'm not mistaken. But hey,
they wanted him to be the defensive coordinator, I believe.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So
not sure if he was not sure if it was his job to turn down, but he was certainly in the running to be Louisville's defensive coordinator, and I believe that's what Tennessee was waiting to see what would happen with him.
Nice. Well, it's a great addition. I like the moves that are being made. Ben, you made a statement a second ago that what Gibson was getting paid was fair value. Does that include the raise he got before last year? I mean, a guy gets hurt. No one can say, "Oh, well, we didn't get production out." I mean, guys get hurt. You know, that's unfortunate, and that's part of football. And you're gonna pay a guy a bunch of money. They get hurt. It's not their fault. I mean, trust me, the kids want to be out there. They just don't want to collect a check and not play. So I don't think anyone can hold that against them. But here's my question: is whatever he was getting paid going into last year, the whole thing with Boo Carter, you know, he came back at Tennessee and was like, hey, I want more money. Okay? They gave him the more money. What was that based off of? Because if I remember correctly, the previous year, his production was nowhere around what top corner would be, but he was getting paid like a top corner. Is this another one of these scenarios, especially now looking at our roster, of, well, we had to pay it because we didn't have any other options? Feels like there's a lot of that going on with this team, that we've got to pay these basically ransoms because, to Swain's point about eval, development, and, you know, having guys work up through the program, we're having to overpay guys that probably aren't worth it because we don't have another option to go to. I mean, you look at the bowl game. I mean, you know, we had a true freshman out there. We had a walk-on. Those were our starting corners.
Yeah.
I know McCoy was hurt. I know McCoy was hurt. Gibson was hurt. Are you telling me that a walk-on is your fourth? Okay, yeah, Colton Hood opted out. So your fifth best corner in the program is a walk-on? Not a scholarship player?
I think that's a product of the day and age of college football we're in.
I think that's an excuse.
That's fine.
Yeah, I think that's an excuse because I think there are other programs that, you know, that they're at least putting – now, they may be putting out a true freshman or, you know, a redshirt freshman or somebody to that nature, but it seems like we get to walk-ons. I mean, there was a play I saw during the Illinois game. I counted – you had Farouk on the field, you had Perlotti, you had Marion Dye, you had Ty Redman, and gosh, there was somebody else.
They
but there
also
were
ran
five
Trey
true.
Poteet. They also ran Trey
Trey
Poteet up
Poteet,
there
thank you.
at corner as well. And William Wright isn't your typical walk-on. I mean, William Wright has made plays in SEC games.
Okay. But here's where I'm going with this. In one play, I counted 5 true freshmen and a walk-on. That's 6 guys out of 11. That's a lot for a bowl game, don't you think?
That's a lot.
I mean, I know you're going to work guys in and stuff like that, but I just
it goes back to Swain's earlier point in the show, Justin, about Josh Heupel keeps talking about how they were the youngest team in the SEC, youngest team in the country, whatever the stat is. Like to Swain's point earlier, and I was going to throw this in as well if I got a chance. They chose to go young this season,
correct,
so that they could. I don't know. They thought that was the right move, and at least I was always weary of that because you can't win at a high level when you're as young as they were this past season. When your depth is
and I guess that's where I'm going.
Freshmen, you're not going to win at a high level.
Yeah, and I guess that's where I'm going. Is this was a choice? You know, this was a choice to go young. You don't get to choose to go young, and then when it doesn't work out, go, well, it's because we're young. Mm-hmm. I mean, that to me. That's why I say it's an excuse. Mm-hmm. You know, it is difficult in the NIL to have 3-4 levels of depth. I'm not saying that's an excuse. I'm saying you chose to go this route. Then when it doesn't work out in the season, you don't beat an FBS team with a winning record the entire year. You don't.
You're breaking up, Justin, man. Give us a call back when you can. 865-255-03. Just keep it going. Good morning.
Hey, good morning. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, man.
Yeah. Hey, Happy New Year to y'all.
Happy New Year to you, too.
Encouraged to see some of the staffing changes that have happened. Swain, you've talked about toughness, strength and conditioning. Heupel's making some of the tough decisions. That's encouraging. I wanted to get y'all's opinion on some of this game management, this clock management.
Oh, boy.
Do you see him potentially giving up in-game play calling duties? I don't know what that dynamic is with Hall's. I do think clock management, game situation management, the way the game is called, with tempo and going away from it at times, and just it seems a little erratic. Just want to get y'all's thoughts on if you see some of that potentially changing or being evaluated next season. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, I think there are head coaches out here that let me back up. Ryan Day was not good as offense coordinator this past weekend or this past week or this past game when they played Miami. When Urban Meyer was the head coach, he was a really good offensive coordinator because that was his only duty. He had to take over as play caller because Brian Hartline, who did call the plays, left to be the head coach of South Florida. Ohio State was predictable. Their play caller wasn't that good. And so it's hard to pull double duty. Josh Heupel was a play caller, offensive coordinator at heart. Josh Heupel has not managed both hats very well this year because the in-game management has suffered because he is, in my opinion, a little distracted, calling plays on the iPad when defense is on the football field. And I use Ole Miss as an example. I use Charlie Weiss, who's about to get paid $2.5 million to be the OC at LSU. And you look over here at Tennessee, and we're almost playing half of that to our offensive coordinator. Well, that was weird to me because you look at Lane Kiffin, we know that he doesn't call the plays like he used to. Charlie Weiss calls the plays. But you look at Tennessee, you can tell Josh Heupel is talking. He's covering his mouth on offense. Him and Halsley are talking, or he's calling plays or whatever. Whatever it is, it's distracting him and pulling him away from being the CEO, head coach that I think he needs to be more of, rather than just trying to be an offensive coordinator, because it's making the in-game management not be good enough. So he has a coordinator in Halsley that maybe he doesn't trust enough to handle it by himself. Whatever it is, there is an issue that everybody can see, everybody can pick up on. It seems like every time Tennessee plays, at least this year, in-game management is a question. It's a question. So the philosophies offensively, man, it needs more work. We were played the same way all year. 2 safeties and 3 safeties high. And we would play like that last year against Ohio State. And during the offseason, we heard, hey, working on more of the answers. Offensive passing system is going to be changed. It's going to be tweaked. And it was. There's a lot of things that were improved and better. But you shouldn't be playing the last game of the season against Illinois, and you still don't have the answers to the test. We had 121 yards passing. 121 yards passing. Illinois had 196. We had 121 yards passing. In the last game of the season, we don't have more answers to the test then. So it's time for us to look in the mirror again and understand that our offense is not as good as we think it is. Our offensive philosophy is not as good as we think it is. We're one of the only teams that runs this type of offense. And I think it's for a reason. And I was one of the biggest supporters of this offense in 21 and 22. I remember talking to a former Vol player about this. And he's like, I don't know, man. And he's a defense player. Like, I don't like it. I don't believe it. Nope. It's a gimmick. That's what he said. I go, hey, man, if it's working, it's working.
I remember saying that. People didn't like that.
Yeah, if it's working, it's working. But the key phrase is, if it's working. It ain't working against a quality opponents. It's working against Mississippi State. It's working against ETSU. When it's time, and it worked against Georgia when it needed to work. But when it's time to beat a team in a big game, we're unable to play complementary football, the old school football way. There's a time and a place for this type of offense, and it ain't for 60 minutes. You can't do it for 60 minutes.
I would say that it's not the time and place is not against physical football teams.
No.
I think physical football team, that this offense gets exposed, and that's what happened against Illinois. The time of possession certainly did not help Illinois did a great job of possessing the football, especially there in the first half. But even in the midst of time of possession playing a role, you saw the offensive line stub its toe, and not that like this overall thought that we're saying about the offense is only on the offensive line. It's not only on the offensive line. It's not. But you saw the lack of physicality that is required rear its ugly head, even in that first half against Illinois. Maybe a little bad luck involved with Lance Hurd stepping on Sham Umarov's foot on the sack that forced the fumble. But that wasn't the only play in which Illinois was able to get to Tennessee up front on that side of the football. And so there are changes that need to be made on offense. I don't we're not preaching to the choir. I think it's pretty known at this point, and it's not just personnel changes. I
Philosophy
think
changes, man.
Yeah, I think being more diverse philosophically would go a long ways for this offense. And I remember when that whole gimmick conversation happened, like we also said, or at least I said, and I think that you agreed at the time, like teams were going to catch up to it. Teams were going to catch on to the offense and understand what you're doing. And I mean, there's even a separate, bigger conversation and just the sport of football overall. You're starting to see teams play more too high safety, even across the NFL, and passing numbers are down as a result of that. Defenses have just reached the point of like, we're not letting you beat us over the top. We're going to make you dink and dunk and run the football. And Tennessee does a pretty good job running the football. That's why Josh Heupel values Glenn Ellerbe so well, because of what he does as a run game coordinator.
Correct.
But there are still changes that need to be made, even if football has kind of adjusted to the Josh Heupel style of offenses overall.
865-255-03. Let's go back to the Garza Law hotline. Good morning.
Good morning, Jason.
What's up? Sound like Dustin.
It is, man. Hey, man. See, that's the other day I called and you said, "Man, you ain't got no energy," and now I'm pissed. Okay, because now my energy's up. Well, let me tell you, I watched the crappiest bowl game I've seen all year in the Music City Bowl, and I'm so glad I didn't drive to Nashville. Just about took my 8-year-old son, but I told him, I said, "No, let's just watch it at home."
Pretty good idea.
But yeah, it was a fantastic idea.
Can I stop you for a second? Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, man.
Because I meant to ask this question before we got you on. For those that watched the bowl game, did the broadcast talk about? And I haven't go back to watch the game yet because, quite frankly, it was disgusting to watch in person. But like, did they say during the broadcast that Bielema said that Heupel's offense was easy to scheme for?
I don't remember them saying that, but here's what I do remember them saying, and this is what makes me so mad.
Okay.
You all just talked about it, about the dropping 2 high safety and 3 high safety. I swear to God, if I hear that one more time this year on a broadcast or the next time Tennessee plays and we have not figured it out, when you've got Jordan Rodgers, former Vanderbilt quarterback up there, and I mean, maybe that's what rubs me the wrong way is it's former Vanderbilt quarterback Jordan Rodgers, but he's up there. Well, Tennessee, they're running the ball, and then they're giving up on the run too quick because when Illinois is dropping 3 high safeties, and they've talked about how they've schemed to try to fix this. I mean, dude, he was sitting there saying the same thing you just got done saying on the broadcast, and I swear to God,
oh, we Justin dropped on us. All right, let's try to keep it going.
Well, real quick, Swain, okay. To asking what was said on the broadcast.
Yeah.
It wasn't. What did you think that it was?
I was told that the broadcast mentioned that Bielema said that Heupel's scheme was not that hard to prepare for.
I don't recall those exact words.
Okay.
What I do recall sticking out to me is that Illinois thought Tennessee was very predictable based off of where the tight ends line up.
All right. Well,
they thought that they could easily they thought that Tennessee was giving away what they were running based off of where it lined up the tight ends.
Okay, well, pretty much the same thing. Yeah, pretty much the same thing. Yeah, that's an issue. That's an issue. Let me see if we can get Dustin back in here. We got you back, Dustin?
Hey, man.
All right.
Yeah, I'm back. Hey, man, my bad. But what I was saying is when he's saying that on TV, like, you know how embarrassing that is on a national broadcast. And then, like I said, you come in here this morning, you're saying it like that. Like, the other night, here's why I'm mad. The other night, that's the first time that I have thought to myself, okay, Josh, now I like you. I like your offense. I feel like you're a good play caller. That was the first time I started questioning things. We was running the ball, gashing them, and then it's like, but I want to throw it. But I really want to throw it. And I'm just like, dude, if you're running the ball, just run the dang ball. You did it a year and a half ago, or a year ago at Oklahoma. You finally said, okay, I'm just going to run the ball. And then you did it against Florida. You made them take it this year. Like, and I know it's not a good Florida team, but dude, sometimes just run the ball, just be physical and run the ball. And so I don't know. My thing, here's what I want to ask you this morning, and this is like this, you and Ben both. Do you think Josh Heupel is going to be willing to? Maybe he does need to take his hands off of it a little bit or whatnot. But we have got to make some changes to our philosophy. If we're not going to go super speed, and we're going to keep continuing to do what we are doing. He'll get next year, but then he's going to get one more year and he's going to be done. The schedule is ungodly next year, and I tell you what scares me most, Jason. And I was joking about Cam Coleman and all that. Is this Tristan Keys is coming in, and we've seen that it takes our receivers up to 2 years to really figure this offense out. So you're going to roll in with Mike Matthews and Staley and hopefully a Rodarius Jackson or somebody like that and hope that they improve in their second year. So my question to you all is, do you think that he will – do you think we're going to figure this out, man? I mean, because everybody's questioning it. The broadcast – I mean, is it something that – I mean, I don't know, man.
I don't know. I don't know if he's going to figure it out. But I think the evidence is right there in front of him. And it is an ego blow because Heupel, prides himself on offense. I mean, he's an offensive guy. He's an offense coordinator. He's had success at offense. He wants to put up big points, which is why I never really understood he's going conservative, man. He's going conservative. Like Josh Heupel ain't conservative.
Right.
Like he never was to me. He's always been someone that wants to light up the scoreboard, and we saw growth in him in 2024 on the road at Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Like, so he wants to throw the ball. And a part of the reason of why, like you mentioned, in the bowl game and other games where it's like, hey, man, we're trying to be too greedy because Heupel wants to light the scoreboard up. He wants to have, 300-yard passers and 200-yard receivers in a game. Like, that's what he wants. But sometimes the defense tells you no. And defenses have played us that way because they know that's what Heupel wants to do. So they say, all right, we're gonna force you to be patient. We're gonna play two safeties high. We're gonna roll in a third safety, and we can see if you can methodically move the football down the field without getting holding calls, without getting false starts, without beating yourself. Let's see if you can do it and score touchdowns. That's how we were played all season long because they know deep down Heupel wants explosive plays. So,
well, and maybe like you said, man, maybe a shot to his ego is what he needs. I mean, look, he's making changes that a lot of people said that they thought he would never make. Coaching changes.
Yep.
So maybe he knows, man. Like maybe the writing's on the wall, and he's like, you know what? I mean, because some of the best stories start with you got to get knocked down.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you got to really take it to heart. And and something he said in his press conference the other night, and I'll end on this is. Man, when he said there's a couple plays that are burning my mind, like, dude, I sure hope so. And I hope one of them is off the foot of a kicker. Like, it's time to find somebody else. But, man, I appreciate y'all.
All right. I appreciate that, man. I am rooting for Josh Heupel. Josh Heupel is what Tennessee needs. He's a great fit from a personality standpoint. He's a good dude. I think – and this is me if I was advising him. Now, he has to listen because I'm sure there's people advising him. But I would drop the coach speak stuff. I would tone it down a little bit, and I would start talking like he talks to his players a little bit more. You saw how that's what I would do if I was him. Doesn't mean he has to do it. Doesn't mean that he can't win, continue to do the same stuff that he does in the podium. That's just what I would do if I was him. Dude is a winner. This is not new territory for him, where he got knocked down. He did it as a player. He can do it as a coach. There's going to be times when he gets advice, and he's going to have to trust his instinct and not listen to the advice. There's going to be other times when he's going to have to listen to the advice. I don't know when he should do either, but I know that he's going to have the support of a lot of people to get this done and get this turned around. There are some people, maybe fans, I don't know, but there are some people who have their mind made up. They're over it. They're done with them. But I think most feel like with the changes, with him changing, again, this is still a young coach. This is his first big job. He was always going to have to learn on the job. I hope that he makes the changes and we are successful and we don't have to make a change. If Tennessee goes 7-5 next year, it looked like we did this past year, Tennessee's not going to have a choice because you're going to continue to fall further behind everybody else. What the college football playoff has told us this year, guys, is Ole Miss is 2 games away from winning the national championship, y'all. Ole Miss. Indiana, 2 games away from winning the national championship. Miami, Indiana. Ohio State at home. Georgia at home. Alabama at home. These 3 programs have been the blue blood standard in the last 10, 15, 20 years. And they are at home. There's more programs now that feel like this is for the taking. LSU's about to be aggressive in the portal. Tennessee's going to be aggressive. We're going to spend some big money in the portal. But there are other things that Heupel needs to address that are outside the portal. It's outside the coaching moves. His system has to change. This system is not good enough offensively to win and be in the position that these 4 teams that I mentioned are in. You have to play complementary football better. You have to. All right, we're going back to the phones. Good morning. Good morning.
Happy New Year, gents.
Happy New Year. This is Buck Nasty?
Oh, it's Rusty.
Rusty, my bad. I'm sorry, man. The deep voice, man. I'm sorry.
It's early, man. I'm still on California time, but we're back in Tennessee.
Good morning.
We're back in Tennessee, man, for good.
You moving back?
We are. We arrived Christmas Eve.
Oh, man, that's great, man. That's great, man.
We're still unpacking.
I'm happy.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Hopefully get to see you fellas a little more often now.
Thank you.
Hey, so Rogers, he said that Bielema, what Bielema said, according to Rogers, was when we go hurry up and try to go tempo, our tight end tips what run we're using, whether it's a counter,
Gotcha.
gap, whatever.
Gotcha.
It was when we showed, and gotta believe him because we saw it a ton this year. Every time we picked up that chunk play and then tried to get on the ball quick and go, it was a 2-yard loss when we handed it off.
Gotcha.
I think other teams had it. So yeah. When you say change overall coaching philosophy, it's not, I mean, just my take would be the offense was good enough this year to be 10-2 if you have a defense that it's, I don't know, in the top 75 teams in the country, not the top 90. a top 40 would have seemed like 11-1 was on the table with that offense. But if we're talking about anything else, where do you stand on timeout management?
It's not good.
Yeah. What else?
Well, let me push back.
I guess.
Let me push back on you a little bit on the offense.
Sure. I'm with you. Go ahead.
You're putting your defense coordinator in a bad situation. Like when you look at Miami, okay, they're running the football. They're giving their defensive linemen time to rest, and they're more effective when they're out there and able to rush the passer. You don't want a defense that is tired in the fourth quarter. There were several possessions this year where we only possessed the ball for 40 seconds. You can't do that. There are times when you go 3 and out. It happens. You don't want it to happen, but the difference between our offense going 3 and out and a huddle-up offense that takes their time is 2 minutes or more. That gives your defense time to rest. I mean, that stuff matters. It adds up. So every time you have a 3 and out, we're talking about 2 minutes or so that your defense could be resting. For me, that's the bigger issue. Like, everyone is piling up on the defense, but the offense, because defense wasn't that great, the offense had more pressure on them to be better, and they were not better because, again, we became greedy, and we didn't have the answers to 2 high safety and 3 high safeties. And so that's why I'm saying that the offensive philosophy needs to be tweaked a little bit so it can be more complementary to the defense. That's all I'm saying.
No, I'm with you. That's fair. Yeah, you're right. Football is so much, both all 3 phases working. I hit that. Yeah, I mean, the death by 1,000 cuts that our defense allowed to Illinois wasn't, complimentary to the offense.
Correct.
Heck, if we'd got hit over the top a couple times, at least we could have got more than 3 offensive possessions in the first half. And if the offense had not given up a strip sack, that's 7 points that aren't on the board. That looks like the defense gave up more than they did. Yeah, I totally get what you're saying.
Yeah.
But I still think the defense if the defense was a little bit better this year,
I agree.
it would have we wouldn't have felt nearly as bad. But is he gonna put an emphasis on realizing how to use timeouts correctly, not going to the locker room with all 3, and anytime things like ending up in the Georgia game where we have 6 pre-snap penalties and Georgia has none, and the game's played inside the University of Tennessee's football stadium named Neyland Stadium, which is just – and 2 of those were like a snap infraction and a false start. As soon as you're in a big spot where you're 1st and 10 after a turnover, or you're 1st and 10 from the 26-yard line about to kick a field goal and it ends up being a longer field goal. Are we going to – can he eliminate and be a more precise coach? I mean, I think we all can say Cignetti.
That's the question.
That's what Cignetti does. What makes Cignetti great is they are a precision-based football team. It's not flashy. They don't make mistakes.
They don't. And you don't see Cignetti with the play sheet over his mouth calling plays.
True.
Like, his coordinators coordinate, and he is the CEO. And you ask about the management and the timeouts and stuff. When you're trying to do multiple things at once, it makes it easier to make mistakes, right?
Yep.
When you're thinking about multiple things at once, it makes it harder to focus on that one thing. And so I just think watching him this season, he has been too much of the offensive coordinator, and it is taken away from him being a head coach in game, and that's why you're seeing some of those mistakes. That's just my personal opinion.
Totally agree with you. I don't disagree at all. My pushback on that would just be, do you think he's ever going to let Joey Halsey call plays?
Until we get a straight answer about who calls plays and who's the play caller, then no.
Right on.
Like I'm serious.
Right on.
Like I'm serious.
No, I'm with you. I know it's funny because it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Hey, thanks so much for taking the call. Ben, hope you're well, buddy. Hope you had a good Christmas, both of you, and we'll talk soon.
Hey, thank you, Rusty, man.
Thanks, Rusty. Good to hear from you.
That's good news, man. Rusty's back in Knoxville, or back in Tennessee from being in California. Man, that's good news right there.
And anybody else moving to East Tennessee needs to reach out to Jennifer Morris of Keller Williams Realty. She did have a shout out from earlier this week that she wanted me to share. Things that she is thankful for that happened last year. Ben got thrown a curveball and knocked it out of the park. Her new friends and clients made through the show. Her Vol Sports, even though it's a roller coaster ride sometimes. And another year of Swain and Ben friendship. We appreciate Jennifer's friendship here on the show, and you would too if you worked with her, because she is the absolute best. So for all of your real estate needs, please reach out to Jennifer Morris of Keller Williams Realty.
865-250-503, Garza Law Hotline. Beatty Chevrolet text box is open as well. Swain Event, fueled by Dead End Barbecue.
What's up, Swain Event crew? Jennifer Morris here with Keller Williams Realty. Fall sports can be a roller coaster ride for us fans. The excitement, drama, and passion will make us crazy sometimes. I can't manage the games, but I can help you manage your real estate needs while you're cheering on the Vols. Reach out at 865-694-5904 or contact me at nextmovesmokymountains.com. That's nextmovesmokymountains.com, and go Vols.
Guys, you can feel your energy slipping away, losing what makes you, you. It could be low testosterone. Take action now. Low T Center can help reclaim your energy with a quick and simple free T-test. Visit Low T Center and receive pharmaceutical-grade testosterone never compounded like other clinics. Experienced providers increase your testosterone to the level that is just right for you. Treatment is covered by most major insurance with affordable self-pay options available. The best you is waiting. Book your free T-test at trtmvp.com. When you are craving some quality barbecue, there's only one place to go: Dead End Barbecue. Dead End Barbecue has been featured on ESPN's Taste of the Town, the first barbecue restaurant on the SEC Network, CBS Sports, Headline News Tailgate Show, Amazon Prime's The Restaurant Comeback, Food Paradise, and named one of the top 100 barbecue restaurants in America. The search is over. Dead End Barbecue is located on 3621 Sutherland Avenue right here in Knoxville. You can even have it delivered right to your door through Chow Now. Visit their website at deadendbbq.com. Dead End Barbecue. The search is over.
Out-of-town law firms have been swarming into East Tennessee lately. From Memphis, Chattanooga, and Birmingham, they've stormed into the area. Wouldn't you rather do business with a local firm? You know, a true neighbor. Marcos Garza and the pros at the Garza Law Firm are just that. There are neighbors and friends that support local causes year-round. The Garza Law Firm works to serve you professionally on criminal matters, injuries and accident matters, and Social Security and disability filings. The Garza Law Firm is here for you at garzalaw.com. The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Just because you can't call in doesn't mean that you have to sit on the sideline. Impact the show with a text box. It's part of the free Swain Event app.
Swain Event, fueled by Dead End Barbecue, top 100 barbecue restaurant in America. Glad that you are with us this morning, the second day of the year. Ben McKee, Go Vols 247. I'm Jason Swain. Low T Center Studios, where you can find me. Appreciate Ben. The plan was to do the show yesterday, but this is New Year's. Things happen. Unable to do the show. So here we are today on a Friday, trying to make up for a week where Tennessee played in the middle of the week, and so we had to make some adjustments. Tennessee played on Tuesday. It was not a great sight to see at all. The game was terrible. I mean, Tennessee played terrible and lost the game to Illinois, a team that does not have more talent than Tennessee. But the reason why you lost is some of the reasons, some of the issues that we've been talking about this season, and we're trying to fix it. And so that's the goal for Josh Heupel. Kyle Duckett, do we need to panic with a couple of players going into the portal like Gibson and Hurd? No. Not Hurd. That was a salary cap cut. You paid him a lot of money this year. You paid him a lot of money to get him. the reason why you have to pay him a lot of money is because your offensive line eval and development is not where it needs to be. And it hasn't been where it needs to be, so that's why you have to overpay for guys like Lance Hurd. And you're going to have to pay him more money, which more money was coming to David Sanders. David Sanders is expected to play left tackle. Lance was expected to go to the NFL. Well, you can't have two guys at left tackle, and you can't pay Lance Hurd more than what he pay him this year, on top of everything else that you need to buy from the portal, especially on defense. And so you got to let him go. You just have to. And you should have other guys. You do. Jesse Perry, who did a good job of cross-training at guard and tackle. You got Gabe Osinda, who's a borderline five-star player that you're paying a lot of money to bring in. So that doesn't mean you go with him first, because maybe he's not ready. Because David Sanders wasn't ready. He wasn't ready as a true freshman. Injuries or not, he wasn't ready. You're either ready or you're not. You're either available or you're not. You're producing or you're not. Sometimes it's that black or white. And so I know Ben over there 247. Gabe Osinda is not someone you guys eval, someone that's a plug-and-play guy day one. So it probably be best that he is a backup at the beginning of his career and then works himself into a starter by year 2 or later in his freshman season. But they got to handle that. Do they go get a tackle in the portal? I think they do need to address the offensive line in the portal, because I didn't think the offensive line was good enough, especially in the interior.
Allow me to play devil's advocate.
Okay, go for it.
I don't have a problem with Tennessee moving on from Lance Hurd. I don't. So please don't mistake me just playing devil's advocate to be annoying. Is me disagreeing with them parting with Lance Hurd, essentially. Mm-hmm. The fact that we don't really trust their development with their high school signees. The fact that now they probably need to go get an offensive lineman in the portal. They're going to cost in the portal. I guess Lance Hurd probably wasn't going to stick around to play left tackle anyway. So maybe I'm not even playing devil's advocate. What I'm getting to is me asking you is, how would you address the offensive line through the portal? Would you be looking for a right tackle, or would you be looking to slide Jesse Perry out to right tackle and then trying to go find an interior offensive lineman? I think that's what I would be doing, is trying to slide Jesse Perry out to right tackle. I thought he was better at tackle than he was guard those first couple of games of the season anyways. Don't know if Tennessee still views that as his long-term home on the interior. He is a guy that can play multiple spots for you, which is what makes him so valuable. But how would you address adding to the offensive line? Sliding Perry over, letting him play right tackle, go get an interior guy, or are you going and trying to find another tackle, especially since not only did you lose Lance Hurd, but you lost Bennett Warren in the process, as I believe you mentioned earlier in the show?
This has nothing to do with emotions, what I'm about to say. I'm putting on my GM business hat here. I am moving Perry to tackle. I am getting an interior offensive lineman from the portal. Jesse Perry takes pride in wearing the power T. This is not a money grab for him. I'm paying him. I'm taking care of him. I'm not going to take him for granted. I'm not going to use that as a way to undervalue him and underpay him. But I know that it means something to wear that power T. I'm putting him at tackle because I don't have to overpay for someone from the portal that's just looking for money. They are a mercenary, and that's cool. You can be a mercenary, but I think when you have a guy already in-house that can do the job, you let him do the job, especially if he understands what it means to be a volunteer being from this state. I'm putting him at tackle, and I'm adding an interior offensive lineman because the market for an interior offensive lineman is less than the market for a top-tier tackle. Does that make sense? That's what I would do. You're already paying David Sanders Jr. a lot of money. You had to pay him a lot more money than what Ohio State was willing to pay him. You're going to have to pay him more. Move Perry to tackle. Go get another interior. You need better center play. I mean, you need better play at center. That has to be fixed.
Yeah, and I would add that you need more consistent guard play as well. I did not think the guards were good enough in those matchups with big time physical defenses. Alabama didn't play its usual brand of Alabama defense this year, but it's still a physical team that you played. And against Oklahoma, didn't think that it was great then either. Of course, Wendell Moy was battling injury as well. But I agree with you. I
ain't concerned about him.
I'm not either, but he had a couple of plays in those bigger games that hurt Tennessee along the offensive line. He did.
Yeah. It has to be better in the interior. That's what
and I mean, if I'm being honest, like when you don't beat a team in Division I with a winning record, and you didn't play well in the games against good teams, I mean, how many players on this team really had a good season? I mean, I think that's a fair way to look at it as well, or at least it isn't. You know, they're not skipping the evaluations either in terms of like everybody on this roster needs to be evaluated outside of maybe a very, very, very small handful of guys. But I agree with what you said along the offensive line. I think that would be the most cost efficient way to do things, and I don't think that's being cheap either. You have to get smart about your payroll, which is what this is. There's essentially a salary cap, a payroll, and you got to be smart in certain areas. I think that's an area that you can be really smart and get a lot of value out of that position while not having to pay a king's ransom in the process.
Yeah, 100%. Nelson from Jackson, Warren, Bustle, Max Anderson, all gone. Was that O-line class misevaluated, or were they just bad fits?
Misevaluated.
Hey, man. If they're a bad fit, that's a misevaluation. Nico was a misevaluation because he's a bad fit. You brought him here. Your job is to make sure they're good fits. And if they're not, that's your fault. Misevaluation. That's the way it works. Sometimes it's black and white. Sometimes it is black and white. This is black and white. You've had an issue in that department. I'm not going to harp on it too much because we've done it in the past, but Anderson, Warren, another example. Parker says, I think Poindexter hire is an elite safety coach hire, and Andrew Jackson is an elite edge hire. I think it is too. What was important for me when Jim Knowles was hired was him being able to bring his people that he trusts so he can teach the defense properly. There's a lot of people that know football, but teaching football is different from knowing football. And teaching football in a way to where your players understand it is different than other coaches. The elite coaches teach it in a way that you don't misunderstand it. There's a clear understanding of what you want as a player. There's a clear understanding of what your coach wants from you. You know, there's no gray area. Those are the elite teachers, which turn out to be the elite coaches. Skeet says, do y'all know if Jesse Perry prefers or a tackle? It seems like a great fit at right tackle the first half of the season. Well, I know this for a fact because I talked to Jesse Perry during the season when we had him on the locker room. He was our guest because I asked him the same question. He doesn't care. That's what he told
Do you
me.
think he was being 100% honest when he said that? Because the media asked David Sanders Jr. About playing right tackle a couple of weeks ago when he met with the media before the bowl game, and David Sanders gave a great PR answer.
I can only.
But we know David Sanders wants to play left tackle, not right tackle.
Well,
So do you think Jesse Perry was being truthful when he said that? I think he was.
I mean,
Jesse Perry's a great young man.
Yeah, I mean, I think he was being truthful, and I don't think he really cares. And I don't think David Sanders should care if it's left or right tackle, because there's this perception that, left tackle is the position. Dude, Darnell Wright's playing right tackle in the league. And Darnell Wright was a beast here at Tennessee. And David Sanders has not proven that he can be Darnell Wright yet. Now, physically, he has some of the tools and hopefully he can get there. But, if I'm David Sanders Jr., I'm getting on the phone with Darnell Wright. Darnell Wright played right tackle. If you're good, you're good. So it doesn't matter if you're left tackle or right tackle. Just do your job. Just immerse yourself in the process of getting better each and every day, and you'll be where you need to be when it matters most. It doesn't matter if it's left tackle or right tackle. Robbie from Georgia, love Josh, want him to succeed, but in my opinion, ever since Golish left, his offense has struggled. I think Golish helped with play calling and had input. Thoughts? I agree. I mean, when you look at people can argue it if they want to. The numbers are numbers. The eye test is the eye test.
The offense has definitely struggled since Golish left.
Yeah,
but here's the question to ask. Has the offense struggled because Golish left? I would say no. I mean, did he play a key role? Do you miss him? Of course. But he's not the reason, certainly not the only reason Tennessee's offense has struggled since he left.
But how can you say that when it is so obvious and clear that the offense hasn't looked the same since he left?
Because I think the issue with Tennessee's offense is the offensive line. And how much of a role did he have in the evaluations and development along the offensive line? I think if Tennessee had better offensive line play, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
They did have Pruitt's players.
And last year, the receivers were the problem. How much of that was Alex Golish?
Talent eval was a part of the problem with receiver. Misses at receiver. Okay, fair. Because you did have a group of guys that were already here from Pruitt's recruiting efforts. And so I wouldn't say entirely Alex Golish, but I would definitely put a lot of stock into Alex Golish being a big reason why Tennessee's offense is not the same. I do think we were being played differently than we did when the Golish was here, but I also feel like we're less disciplined offensively because Golish was a butt kicker. And Heupel's personality meshed well with each other. Golish was able to demand a lot from his players and be tough. And both are really nice dudes. I mean, from every time, Halsey barely talks. He may talk to other people, but like when I see him, it's, hey, he's nice, but like him and Heupel remind me of each other. And you need a butt kicker, man. You need a butt kicker. Like Tim Banks was super laid back. I don't need my defense coordinator laid back. I need mine damn near crazy. I mean, I'm just saying.
Like, I need the strength coach and the get back coach tackling the defensive coordinator on the sideline.
I need my strength coach to look like a strength coach. I need my defense coordinator to be damn near crazy. I don't need a laid-back strength coach. Unless you have another staff member that's on defense that can be that. It's about balance. It's about balance.
I will say on the discipline part with Golish, Tennessee did rank last in penalties. They committed more penalties than anybody during that 22 season. Now, I don't know how many of those were on offense, how many of those were on defense, but like the penalties were still an issue under Golish. They just had more talent offensively to overcome those penalties, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of work to get done. This is a good start for Josh Heupel. Again, just to start, it does look like the defensive staff is set. William Ainge looks like he's going to be back, and so your defensive staff looks to be set. Andrew Jackson on defensive line, Rodney Garner defensive line, Ainge at linebackers, Michael Hunter corners, and then today was put out that Anthony Poindexter from Penn State will be with the safety. So there it is. There it is.
And we did have a message from Glockvols. Apologies if you read this. I don't think that you did. But King Mack, safety from Penn State, who's in the portal. That's who Glockvols, a.k.a. Parker, wants on defense, as well as the sophomore edge that Andrew Jackson coached this past year. It does appear that King Mack is someone to watch out for Tennessee.
Yeah.
Which is awesome because his name is awesome. Yeah. That's all I care about. King Mack, you sold me at the name. I'm sold. King Mack is your name. I don't need any other convincing. I don't need to watch any tape. I don't need to watch you play any football. Your name's King. Come on. Give me 22 Kings on the team.
Swain Event, fueled by Dead End Barbecue, top 100 barbecue restaurant in America. Big thanks to Ben McKee, GovVols 247. I'm Jason Swain. We'll do it again on Tuesday morning, 8 a.m. If you missed any part of the show, Swain Event podcast will be available wherever you get your podcast as soon as possible. If you want more conversation involving myself, Joshua Swain, today from 12 to 3. I'll be back after being off all week. So, peace and love. Appreciate you, Ben. Swain Event, fueled by Dead End Barbecue. We are out.